Welcome back to another episode of the Align for Success podcast. This is your hostess with the mostest, Deborah Deras, and we are here for another very, very exciting episode. It was so exciting that last week on Tuesday, I was already doing the social media preparation for it. Why? Because this gentleman that you are going to meet today is going to literally rock your world. Why? Because he's spectacular. He's phenomenal. He is completely aligned, and you will be inspired to be aligned just by being in his presence on this podcast. So before we get started, I always have a saying for you, and you know what that is. It is sharing is caring. So if you know other people that need to be here, that need to listen to an amazing transformational 44 minutes to be able to learn how you or them can have a joy, not a job, how you can be able to live a life of your dreams, share this out. If you're with us on Facebook, press that little button right now. Sharing is caring. Also, YouTube, we can hear you. By the way, for those of you that are new to this podcast, it is interactive. You know what that means? That means you can ask questions too. You can make comments and you will be featured on our YouTube channel, on our Facebook. So we want to hear from you. We want you to be contributing. So, what is alignment? What is the Align for Success podcast? It is when your inner world matches with your outer world, that you are in integrity with your soul, baby. Why? Because we are not here just to exchange time for money, to have a job, just over broke. We are here to fulfill a contract, not just any contract, our soul's contract. I like to call it our life purpose. We are here to fulfill it, and it's all based on what we're great at, what we love. And today's guest is such a perfect example of that because he is fully expressed, exponentially quantum form using his talents. And that's what this podcast is all about. I share with you my friends, my mentors, people like Elijah Rock that inspire me to live your best life, to be unencumbered by what other people will say, or if you're going to go into a new realm of your career, new realm of business, or stretch your creative muscles. He is such a great example, and you are going to be so blessed that you have met him. So I'm about to introduce him, but before I do, I have a word from our sponsor, which is the Align for Success video. So one of the things that I've heard from many of you saying to me, I'd love to align for success, but I have this little voice in my head that says, oh, but what will people say? And, oh, I'm not qualified. I have this imposter syndrome, whatever. And I have something to say for you, to you. And you know what that is. Some of you already know. Say it in the comments if you know, those of you that are with me. And that is your ego is not your amigo, because your ego is going to take you out before you even get started. And I have created a free video called Align for Success, 4 steps to get your ego out of the way. Tell your ego to go, G-O, E-G-O, E-G-O, get out. Why? Because you deserve to live a life where you are setting an alarm to stop working instead of to start working because you're so in love with your life. Where can you get the video? It's on my website, deborahderas.com. It's actually, you can go to the bottom. I'm going to put the banner up. It is deborahderas.com. You could download the free Align for Success video and get out of your own way. All right? Cool. So now I'm going to introduce our special guest. And our special guest has a wonderful quote that I'd like to read to you. He believes that eyes to the future, ears to the past. And today's guest is my talented friend, Mr. Elijah Rock. And Elijah, Cleveland born, is a former boy soprano, classically trained in bel canto, beautiful singing, and now a profound baritone vocalist. profound. I'm not kidding. He has a passion for true songcraft and all around entertaining. He is also a world class tap dancer. I've seen him in action. And the latest news for Rock is the debut of his book, which we're going to talk about, The Fine Art of Romance, a bachelor's handbook, which helps men navigate the current dating world by becoming more authentic to their true selves. Oh my God, that sounds like a good book. I want to buy it. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, Rock could be seen starring as the lead vocalist in Vegas in the show at Planet Hollywood. You may have heard of it in Las Vegas, in addition to touring the country as a solo artist. You know he'll be back. You know he will. He's the winner of the 2014 NAACP Theater Award for Best Male Equity Performer in Breath and Imagination. Rock is excited to launch the first season of his entertainment show, the Elijah Rock Variety Show, where he interviews cultural leaders in the arts and beyond. Come on, one mind, Elijah. He will also be releasing his sophomore American songbook album, Matters of the Heart. And if you stay till the end of the episode, you may get an invite to the LA launch party. Please help me welcome my friend and yours, Mr. Elijah Rock.
Hello. I love the instrument. That's great. What's that instrument called? That's
It's maracas.
the maracas. That's great. So you have two of them. That's great.
Yes. I want to be musical for you because you bring so much joy into everybody's life through music. So I was like, let me get an instrument.
That's awesome. Thank you.
Welcome. So I saw you yesterday at the place where we met, the Agape International Spiritual Center,
Indeed.
performing. Were they allowing people in yet? No, right?
No.
Yeah.
I mean, just of course the staff, but it was there's maybe like 2 people in the audience. I don't know how they got a pass, but it was so cool because just to be. I hadn't actually been to the new.
At the Saban. Yeah.
So the theater, just still embodies the presence of the Agape people and the consciousness there. So that was special.
Yes, it is so special because I remember, I think the first time I ever saw you perform was there.
No, you saw. Well, yeah, at Agape at the other location in Culver City. Yes, I believe so. Yep.
And I was like, this guy is legit. And then when you invited us, I think me and Lisa, my friend, went to see your play in Santa Monica. We're like, oh, wow. We are so grateful and honored to have such amazing talent come to the Agape International Spiritual Center. But let's back up and get people caught up to how you became the creative aligned you. Like when you were a little kid, like what were your dreams when it came to your career, and what did you want to be? How did that unfold?
That's a good question. I had to write an essay for Billboard recently, and they sort of asked me a similar question about my background. And I can't remember really when I knew that I could sing. I just, for me, it's almost like there wasn't a time when I was unaware of it. I just can remember when I started to sing at the Lee Heights Community Church, which is a church in Cleveland, where I grew up. Yeah. It's a Mennonite, urban Mennonite church, which is very unique because the Protestant faith, as with a lot of the Protestant denominations, really emphasize the hymns. And so I got to really, understand the hymns and the beautiful melodies of the hymns. And then we had a gospel choir, and it was a multicultural gospel choir. The whole church was multicultural. So the guy who would lead the hymns, his name was Gerald Hughes, and he was a classically trained singer. So I had this amalgamation of the hymns, which sort of extend to the classical voice, and then the gospel sort of mixed in with the gospel choir. So I was inundated with these different musical styles, and within it all, Mr. Hughes saw that I had a classical timbre to my voice. And so he went to my mother and said, his voice is different, and there's something that you might want to, pursue with him.
Oh.
Right. And so I got the opportunity, and then my teachers at school started to hear this difference in my voice, this classical timbre. And so at about 11 years old, my mom had me audition for the Cleveland Orchestra Children's Chorus and the Cleveland Opera Children's Chorus as a boy soprano. This is before before puberty really set in, right?
Right.
And I got in, and so I got to sing at the Cleveland Orchestra with the Cleveland Orchestra in these great big requiems, and the Cleveland Opera. I was in Carmen. I was in La Boheme, Turandot.
Oh, Carmen?
Oh, yeah, wow. I was in the children's chorus. So I got to really understand what it is like to be a professional, semi-professional singer at a very early age, and the discipline that it took to do what we were doing. The rehearsal, it was a rigorous rehearsal, schedule when we would ramp up for a show. And so, and then my voice changed, but I continued on that trajectory, because at that point I knew that I had a gift. And then I would sing, as a soloist in the church choir, and the rest is history. So it's kind of like, it's just been such a huge part of my life that, but I always say to people too, who have kids with special talents, the good thing about my parents is they never pushed me. They saw that I had a talent. They saw that I was interested in the talent that I had. And they allowed me to, now they encouraged me, but they didn't push me. It's a fine line, because sometimes you see, a kid has a talent, and the parents just push, and then the kid rebels, right? Because
exactly that pressure, right?
Yeah, they want to be they want to lead the ship. You got to give them that ownership of their talent. If you want this, then you have to do the things that equals success. And so they did that. And what that did is that gave me a balance between that and sports. So I was doing all of this music, extracurricular. I was playing, on the weekends at the Cleveland Music Settlement. I was playing cello. I was playing classical guitar. That's when I first learned how to tap dance. I mean, I was doing all of this stuff, but then during the week, I play sports. I could be a regular kid. And that is what helped me be a more well-rounded person, I think.
Right. And definitely keep you out of trouble. There's no time for trouble.
Definitely keep me out of trouble.
No trouble when you're like singing. And I love the way you say, the discipline on it. And I want to talk about that. Our mentor, our mutual Reverend Michael Beckwith always talks about like the blissipline. Because even though, like, I know when I was performing in a samba troupe or in a salsa troupe, like it was a lot of rehearsals and a lot of practices, but I loved it. Yeah. Right? It wasn't like it was painful for me. It was like, and the adrenaline of having to get on stage and perform and put the number together, like it was super fun, right?
Yeah. I mean, because I enjoyed it, and so I never thought it was work. Mm-hmm. My first role in a show, I went to a private all boys school, and my first role in the 5th grade, I played Charlotte in Charlotte's Web.
Oh, I love it.
And it was amazing. And I remember when we did that show, that's when I fell in love with theater. with
Uh-huh.
taking on a character, and we had teachers who really took theater seriously. They wanted us to be well-rounded boys.
Right.
And so kudos to them for a curriculum that really, they wanted us to be smart. They wanted us to be educated. They wanted us to be musical. They wanted us to be athletic as we could.
Wow.
So they, and then I did You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. By the time I played Snoopy by the time. So I played animals for the first.
I was always a maid.
you know, yeah, and then and so so when that happens, what happens is when you're excelling, and fortunately with Mr. Hughes, he was a classically trained singer, so he helped my mom to understand also the fragility of the human voice, right? Because sometimes with kids, children who have a vocal instrument, maybe the parents say, okay, now I should put them in vocal lessons.
Right.
But fortunately for him, he was like, no, don't give him vocal training, because he's getting the vocal training in the choirs, and he's learning, he's just learning how to sing, and he's doing well, but let's not give him the rigors of a voice teacher who might do something that could hurt him early on, or help, or offer a technique that will create bad habits. So fortunately, I didn't create bad habits. I just learned the basic discipline, the basic technique of singing, and allowed my voice to mature until I was about 16 when I started to study formally.
Wow, that's so awesome. So you really grew up with it. It's like
Yeah.
a fish in water. And was your first job that you ever had in the arts, in performing?
No. Well, I mean, semi-professionally with the Cleveland Opera and the Cleveland Orchestra, yes. And I toured with a concert choir, a show choir called the Singing Angels. That was the first time I went to Poland and Spain when I was 13.
No way.
Yeah,
Singing?
yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
International singer at 13. Wow.
And I was a soloist with them as well. And that was kind of an interesting experience, because I remember performing in front of people who had never seen Black people before.
Oh, wow.
So you can imagine, I was on stage one day, and I remember these kids making monkey sounds.
Oh my God.
And then when I walked by, these kids reached out to touch my skin to see if the blackness would come off or not.
Whoa.
Now you might say, well, that's so cruel. And yeah, part of it felt like, felt horrible at the time. But I realized too that I was the first Black person that they had ever, I don't know, but they hadn't seen Black people before. It was like, I wasn't.
Where was this, in Poland?
It was in Poland. So that's when I understood, wow, this is this world we live in. Our presence as brown people is significant and important. And when we take our art or take our music across foreign lands and across borders, we are making a huge impact, particularly, our Black American experience or Latin American experience. It's like, our experience here is so unique that to other people around the world, a lot of times some people have never come in contact with people like us. It's really crazy.
Wow. And that you could be proud and make an impact on them and say, wow, this is awesome. So talented, right? So amazing, and just open up their eyes to. And that's I think the wonderful thing about traveling too internationally is seeing different cultures. It opens your eyes to new worlds. And I know both you and I are, spiritually minded and about raising consciousness. How has your spiritual practice helped you, especially during this last year of pandemic? Because I know for me as a speaker, when all of my gigs for 18 months canceled. I was hearing D-Nice tell his story where they wanted the deposits back for all my gigs. And I'm writing checks, one by one in the end of March. I'm like, oh my God. I like signed up for unemployment in April. I'm like, am I going to work
Yeah.
this year? How did you cope, and how did your spiritual practices help you with that unexpected occurrence?
Unexpected. Well, thank God for my meditation practice.
Yes.
My meditation practice, it changed my life. I mean, and agape helped to foster that. And Michael would, Dr. Beck would always talk about meditation and the power of meditation, the reasons why meditation is important. So many reasons. And like most people, you have your on and off periods, right?
Right.
And until you really develop the discipline, the habit, right? The lifestyle. I tell my friends, meditation is a lifestyle. It's something that you choose to incorporate in your life on a regular basis, and on a daily basis, pretty much. So when I began, I can share the transition to being on and off again to making it a lifestyle choice.
Yes.
I was going through, I don't know what was going on in my life at the time, but I remember it must have been maybe like 10 years ago, where I asked myself a question. And that question was, what can I do to guarantee health, wellness, and success?
Ooh, I'm going to write that down. Good one. What can I do to guarantee health, wellness, and success?
Mm-hmm. And the only answer I could come up with was meditation.
Because when you go within, you never go without.
Mm-hmm. Because I said, if I just do that, the law states that the universe, God, will bring to me that which is lacking.
Yes.
Or that which needs to help me expand to continue to grow. That which will bring opportunities to me that I could never bring on my own. You know what I mean? And so I started a 30-day commitment.
Ooh, let's all do it on this podcast. Let's start a 30-day commitment. Okay.
Yeah, just start 30 days. And then I didn't even start. I'm up to 20 or more minutes now, but I think I started at like 10 minutes.
Right.
And you start small, and then, as we're taught, it builds up over time. It just will organically happen that way, right? You'll just, oh, wow, I just sat for 20 minutes and didn't realize it was 20 minutes. And so after the 30 days, I started to see things shift around me and things happen and miracles happen.
Ooh, I'm getting chills.
I'm like, hold on. You mean to tell me that I can manifest more by doing less?
Say it again. They need to hear it for the people in the choir. Say it again.
I was like, you mean to tell me I can manifest more by doing less?
Yes.
And when I started to see the results, I was like, man, I was anchored in more faith, anchored in more awareness, anchored in more secure. I was more secure, more confidence, more authenticity, more, and the things that I desired, things that you sort of are within your vortex. It's kind of like, no two trees are the same.
Right.
And I began to understand too, no two people have the same desires.
Right.
So competition begins to fall off. Because if I'm my own tree, and my own tree it's about how do we maximize the redwood that I am.
Right. And how do you have your roots in fertile soil with that meditation?
Meditation is your roots in fertile soil so that your tree can grow to its maximum potential, up and out.
Mhm.
expansive, right?
Right.
So there are no limits. There just are no limits, right? So a lot of people say, how do you do all this stuff? And I go, I don't do it. I just sit and like it happens. And the
I
people,
was thinking that when I was reading your bio. I'm like, I'm not going to get to finish it before the show is over. I'm like, wow.
I
But it's
know
not from you, it's through you,
it's
right?
through
Because
me, yeah. And the universe brings people, places, and circumstances to make it happen. I mean, I'm not doing as much as people think I'm doing. It's being done on my behalf.
yes. And the
So
universe is literally conspiring for your good. I'm like,
really,
how can I do an event to promote your record release or your book signing, right? Like then the people show up
yes,
that says, "How can I support you? How can I help you?" Because you have said yes to going to your infinite and unlimited source that's within.
yes, and it's a desire. If it's a true
Ah.
desire, right? So if it's a true desire, that's how you know that it's something that it is in alignment with your purpose,
Mm.
because your desires are your desire. We don't desire the same things,
Right, right, right.
right? So it's like, so when when I tune in to what I desire, which makes the things that make me happy, the things that bring me joy, is what I desire. The visions that the visions that I have become in this sort of burning desire. And then once I am just sort of keen in on that, then the universe is like, okay, let me go ahead and make this happen.
Ah. Yeah, because it wasn't clear, and that's why it's so important. Like what you said, they say the quality of your questions are the quality of your life. And when you ask yourself health, wellness, and success, like that's an energy that you can feel. Like if you said this car or this woman or this thing, right? That's not connected to what you really desire. What you desire is the joy, the happiness, the peace, the
Yes,
harmony, the
yes,
freedom
the
that
freedom.
abundance brings.
Freedom is
Freedom,
huge. Freedom is
right?
huge because I never wanted to be trapped by the uh, by the perception or by the illusion of success. And
Ah.
that's a big one, because there's a lot of people get trapped by the illusion of their own success.
Can you talk about that? Expand, expand.
Well, it's like the things that other people deem successful
Right.
becomes the things that they think they need to make them happy, and
Exactly.
that's not the true desire. So
Yes.
if you truly desire to be free, then focus on the freedom, like you said, versus the car, because the car may not make you free, or you might get the car before you're ready.
Right.
Get the car when you're free to have the car, so that the car isn't a burden to you.
Exactly.
And there's
Exactly.
a lot of people, particularly in places like LA, where they feel like the perception of freedom, meaning getting the car that they can't afford, will give them the freedom. No, get the car that that gets you where you need to go, so that your car note is less, so you have the freedom to focus on that which you desire, and then that'll build more bounty and abundance, and then you'll get the car, but you'll own the
Yes.
car. Like the car
Yes.
won't own you, or whatever it is, the things won't own you, because they come out of the abundance of your freedom. And ultimately we want to be free to roam the planet and not be encumbered by anything.
Exactly. Exactly.
I
And
mean,
I'm so glad none of my other guests, you get extra credit, have defined success. And maybe I haven't asked them to do that. Maybe I will in the next episodes, because for me, success has nothing to do with any material possessions. In fact, I even, since I moved to Venice, don't drive anymore. I'm like, it's great that I have this car that I never drive. I'm on my roller skates. I'm on my bike. I'm on
yeah,
any paddleboard, a canoe. Like I literally
yeah.
never get into the car. My definition of success for me, and that's why it's really important to listen to what he's saying. Your definition is peace, freedom, and balance. And balance is a challenge for me, but I'm working on it. Right.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
I love that.
Piece,
Because
piece.
otherwise, you're always going to be striving, and it's an empty, bottomless pit if it's based on material things.
Yeah, or if you're just, if your ambition is to, it's like some people have the ambition for fame. A lot of the millennials, a lot of these younger kids really are chasing fame. And that's a very slippery slope because, I've always been, thank God, I always believed in, a good friend of mine, Antoine Fisher, he said to me, he said, man, you have talent.
Mm-hmm.
He said, if you believe in the gifts that God has given you and you continue to hone your talent, then that is honoring your God's, your God self.
Better preach. You better preach.
Right? So when I honor my talent, and here's a big thing. A lot of artists, there's this belief that they can't monetize their talent.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I was able to shift that belief, because I've never really had a job, really, ever in my life.
I didn't think you did. You just had a joy the whole time.
It's just
joy. Talent, talent.
Well, but I have had times where I was, where the fear was restrictive, meaning the fear in between a job, or, there are times where I've had like maybe a sales job, phone sales job for a few months here. And, over the years, but I would say, over the course of my whole professional life, I would add up, maybe a year's worth of different little jobs I've had to have. But, so to tweak that, I began to truly embody the belief that there is no way that God could have given me this much talent and I go out and do something other than the gifts that God has given me. That's not possible.
Exactly.
That's just not possible.
It would be blasphemy, actually.
And it all comes to my belief.
Right.
And everyone has their own set of talents, right? Every person has, art, and not just one talent. We all have a multiplicity of talents, right?
Yes.
So the meditation helps you to not be confined by the one talent that you think you have, right?
Right.
The meditation helps you to understand the multiplicity of all the talents that you have. And so the meditation also helps to anchor where you hone these talents along the way, so that all of these branches can be of service to you when you need them. Mm-hmm. And then once you believe that God would not have given you these talents for them not to provide you currency.
Amen.
Which is just energy. Yes. So now I don't worry. It's just not a thing. It's just like, I know.
Ooh, I love that.
That the money will, that the opportunities will sustain me. I mean, I bought a condo during COVID.
My other friend bought her first house during COVID. My brother, he got 6 months rent relief, or he was gonna buy it, but now he's waiting till this rent relief is over and then he's gonna buy his house.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
I wrote a book. I mean, all these things just boom.
Oh, you and Lenny Kravitz were just like,
I love the book. And I didn't. The book is the book has always been a desire. I had started with the book concept years back, but the desire never left.
Right.
So when COVID hit, I was still enough because the show at Planet Hollywood was like, they put the kibosh on that.
Right.
So I was like, okay, I have this
time, right?
Time. And this is still a burning desire. And guess what? From when I was flirting with the idea to now, I have so much more experience to bring to the subject matter. And now I'm ready.
I love it. And so let's talk about the book. So was the book like a divine download from your meditations?
It was a divine download from meditations and experience.
I love it. I love it. My book that I wrote during COVID is called, guess what? A Line for Success. And part of it, it was downloading slowly because I was doing all this pivoting. So I was creating a lot of webinars, like
Yeah.
so I had to I still am finishing it up.
Yeah.
But it sometimes when I get the divine downloads, it almost feels like I'm transcribing. Like
Yeah.
it's so much God through me that there's some concepts that are in there that I wasn't really familiar with, like grounding. One
Yeah.
of the chapters is on grounding, walking barefoot on the sand, and that's why God had me move to the beach, on the beach during COVID, because it was like, oh
Wow.
no, yeah. I was like, if we're gonna be quarantined for more than a few months, I need to be with the ocean right
Yes.
here. But
Yes.
but let's talk about like the content of your book. Can I buy it as a woman? I was about to buy it, and then I saw that it was for men, and I was like, can I still buy it?
Oh, of course you should.
Okay,
I mean,
okay.
a lot of women are buying it because they want to see, like, they want to, be, look in on how I am speaking to other men. You know what I mean? So it's like you get to really sort of be like, you get to really get in on it.
And I think it's a different perspective because, like, the books that are for men are usually like how to be a player, how to get them to give your number, like all these NLP manipulative techniques. But knowing you, I'm sure it's not like that. It's
I'm
on.
actually really hard on guys. I'm really hard on us in a way of like, you desire this kind of woman, you're not attracting her.
You guys have that problem too? What?
Oh, yeah. Oh, big time. And the reason why you're not attracting her is because you're being inauthentic with yourself.
Out of integrity with your soul.
Have integrity with your soul, and have integrity with how you date and how you honor women. And I posed a very strong question early on, and I believe it's in my introduction, where I say, do you truly love women, or do you truly loathe women? Only you know in your heart the answer. So it questions your beliefs around the feminine. And some of these guys who are out here talking about this subject matter are speaking from a position where they don't honor it. And there's a loathing, right?
Remember, one of the guys got caught too.
Yeah.
Because I went to go see these guys because I'm single, bilingual, ready to mingle. I like long walks, sunsets. No, I'm just kidding. I'm gonna put it out there to the universe. My order. My mom's like, I'm gonna stop praying for you because every week during COVID we would do a prayer circle, and I would always say, don't forget my soulmate, and everything we prayed for, 99% manifested, except my soulmate. My mom's a practitioner. She's like, I don't think we need to pray that prayer anymore. I think we need to pray for you to clear the blockages to that. Otherwise, it would have already been here because God always says yes and answers your prayers. I was like, oh, Mom, you better preach, Mom.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, and that's essentially what I'm saying to guys is that, like, and so I do talk about from the outer to the inner. So I give the practicalities of how to set up a dating profile, how you're because a lot of guys, just that alone is just they're missing the mark on how to just present themselves. And then I get into haberdashery, how to build a wardrobe, like the basic essentials that a young man 21, 22 years old would need to have in his wardrobe just to present himself as a healthy guy, right? And there's I actually build out his basic wardrobe, and then over time I start to sort of move from these things to the inner life. You know what I mean?
Oh, and good. Get them where they are, and then give them what they need.
Yes, and then I also have a chapter called where I break down the qualities that I see that I deem an A-list woman. So I said, so now
tell us. We want to know.
Well, I talk about communication. I start brains, right, right. Strong family connection, right. Listening. So I just sort of take them through this process. So now as they become more authentic with themselves, now they begin to see the qualities that they need to possess and the qualities that need to match them for, and then a lot of these guys, and we all have to deal with the way we have been indoctrinated culturally with how we deal with dating. Meaning a lot of times we are not taught to be authentic. For example, we are taught to have to not tell a woman that we're dating other women, or to lead a woman down a particular wormhole where she thinks she's the only one, and you have the desire to date multiple women or to be in a more open dynamic.
Right.
And I really talk about how, like, I'm like, guys, we can, you can truly, in not giving a woman the opportunity to say yes or no.
Right.
And so I when I was, in my past, I would do that. And I would do that not because I had ill intentions, but it was ill-intended because I was not being authentic because of the fear of loss.
Right.
The fear of loss is so great for men.
It's the lie of omission.
The lie of omission, yeah, and it's the fear of loss. It's the fear of, if I tell her the truth, she'll leave. If I tell her what I truly desire, she will leave, because that's going to be a deal breaker. And we do live in a society where women say, if he were to, if he were to cheat, it's done. Or if he had another woman, it's done.
Right.
So we're kind of afraid. We're kind of afraid. And so that's why a lot of men, it's like, it's in our minds, it's easier to be, quote unquote, a player than be more authentic.
Right. Got it.
So for me, when I hurt a particular woman in my life, and I saw
I was going to say, my friend Danielle says, cake and eat it too. That's what I was thinking, Danielle. I swear to God, you just read my mind. Yeah, they want their cake and eat it too.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
You
can have your cake and eat it too if you are upfront.
Yeah. I've dated guys that told me at the beginning, I just want to let you know I'm not ready to settle down, maybe in 5 years. And I appreciate that. I'd rather have that than leading me on for 18 months with my freaking time. Don't get me started.
No, seriously. It's not.
Now I know to ask. My dad's so funny. He was with Father's Day. He's like, Davey, he's Colombian. He's like, you need to ask, are you single? Are you financially savvy? He's so funny. He's got these S's. Are you gay? Are you gay? He's so funny.
Yeah. I mean, if we just do that, I mean, that'll save so much trauma. But we're really not taught to do that. And a lot of
that's wonderful that you, as an authentic, empowering man, can empower other men, because they need to hear it so that they can have the vibrational equivalency to attract that, like you said, A-list woman, right? That's smart, that's good family person, all the things that you said. But they have to be it to attract it.
They have to be it to attract it. And
vice versa.
And vice versa. And you'd be surprised how many women some want a traditional situation, some want something different, and I've had more women ask me if I was open to other kinds of dynamics versus just the traditional, monogamous relationship. So, and I'm like, wow, like, and I have experienced that they were afraid that I wouldn't be cool with it.
Interesting.
Right. And here's another big thing too that I want to talk about quickly about the book, is that a lot of men don't.
What's the book called, so we can write it in the chat?
It's called The Fine Art of Romance, a Bachelor's Handbook.
The Fine Art of Romance. Victor Orlando, do you know him? He's saying hi. He's a drummer from the Gap Band, Santana drummer. Oh, he's so talented, right?
Awesome.
He says hi, Elijah.
Hey. A lot of men do not understand what unconscious emasculation
Tell us.
is. And this typically happens from very successful, high achieving women. And so, you know, there's this misnomer that because a woman's very successful and ambitious and killing it, that she's got it all. And a lot of times these women who have made such a success of their lives in business and their careers, they have adopted masculine tendencies, energies, and behaviors and beliefs.
It's true.
And so, but then these are the same women that'll say, I want a strong alpha male. I want a king. Mm-hmm. Well, then that king shows up and unconsciously she may emasculate. And that guy will cheat or leave and not even know why he's doing it. It's because he may be unconsciously being emasculated. And because he doesn't know what it is, he's just like, I don't want to deal with it. I'm out. But when so for us to help bring balance to our high achieving ladies, we have to, if it happens, we have to recognize that it's happening, and with an elegant heart and a heart of understanding, bring it to her attention to give her the opportunity to correct that behavior, because otherwise it's not going to end well.
Right. And as I don't know if you ever read The Mastery of Love by Don Miguel Ruiz. Yes. I read that with our friend Valentine. Oh my God, that was like the best book. Yeah. And he was always saying, you can say anything is if you speak in the direction with the intention of love. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I used to be a super, especially in all areas of my life, a mask. When I first was single after I was divorced, I went on my first date like in 12 years, and I was like in networking mode. I was like giving him like my LinkedIn resume instead of being interested in him. Like I was totally right. But I you know, and then I realized to embrace my femininity, and I didn't need to earn his approval through my credentials and resume. But I was being a business owner. Like that's always where I was, about the hustle and the networking. That's why I like the energy that I've shifted into with the alignment, because alignment is not hustle, push, and pull masculine energy. It's flow, which is more feminine.
Yes. And that's what men want.
Surrender.
That's what men want. That's what they desire. That balances his masculine energy. And that doesn't mean she can't be, you know, smart and ambitious and do all the things that and empower her, you know, because if a man's not empowering a woman and encouraging her to get what the market will demand for her talents, that's a reflection of his own insecurity. Right.
Which is another issue that I have a lot of PhD women friends that are super single, and you know, a lot of the men that they have dated, their experience has been where they were intimidated by that. They were insecure, so they would sabotage. Yeah.
So I talk with that. I'm like, guys, you got to deal with that.
You should do workshops. Are you doing workshops? Do you do webinars? Let me help you promote it. I'll send all the men. I'll send all the men.
Exactly. We'll collaborate on that, because I think it's we're going to do retreats and all types of cool stuff. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. You have a burning question from one of my star clients. He's in Canada.
Hey.
And his name is Ched Lee. He's like, Elijah, you mentioned that your talent is honoring the source of all good. Intellectually, I understand that, but I don't fully get it. Can you break it down?
The source of all good. Well, the source of all good is the source of all the talents that you have within you. And the thing about meditation that will help you to anchor this awareness, this understanding, is that when you meditate, there's nothing else that you have to do. It is it's almost counterintuitively intuitive. Meaning you go, so hold on, you mean that I just sit there and the intention is to not think and to be.
Right.
And then these things that I desire just happen? And I'm saying, yes. And that is the letting go part,
Yes.
the letting go. So you don't have to understand it. The whole
Right.
purpose is that the point is practice, the practice of letting it all go. And over time, you will see that the things that manifest are in alignment with your soul's purpose.
Ooh. I love that. I'm drinking it in. Chet, I hope you in Canada are feeling, hope you're picking up what Elijah Rock is throwing down because it's some deepness. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that letting go is also a feminine energy. Going back to your book, because men have masculine and feminine energy, women have masculine and feminine energy, but prayer is like, asking, or like we do, our kind of affirmative prayer is declaring the truth of what already is done,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that it is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I love your belief and conviction. Henry Ford says, if you believe you can, you can. If you believe you can't, you can. Either way, you're right. But then
Mm-hmm.
meditation is the actual listening, the
Mm-hmm.
receiving, another feminine energy, receiving.
Mm-hmm. And then speaking into existence. Sometimes I will like speak to myself, and I'll speak out loud. It is done. And I'll just go into this, like, and I'll just speak, and I'll speak it with just like fervor and energy. It is done.
Yes.
It is already, and I'll just speak it. And now, why am I doing that? Because I'm speaking. I through these affirmations, this meditation, this awareness, I'm speaking it into an existence, and it's like I'm giving power to word, because there's power in words, and that will also help anchor it even more into my beingness.
I love it. And tell them the name of the book, because I think I said it's The Fine Art of Romance, right?
Yeah, a
So
bachelor.
the book is The Fine Art of Romance, but now we also need to talk about your new album coming
Yeah,
out.
yeah, I'm excited.
Ooh la la. Well, maybe we'll get you to sing a little bit.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Well, this is my sophomore album. My first album was called Gershwin for My Soul.
Oh yeah, I remember, with the piano. Yeah, yeah.
Mhm. And this one's called Matters of the Heart, and it's a Great American Songbook album, which is the kind of music that I've have. It's my purpose to record. And I was doing a play called Words by Ira Gershwin about around 2016, where I was playing a crooner, and I got to work with some of the top jazz musicians in the world, and based out of Los Angeles. And the producer, arranger, and pianist Kevin Toney was like, "You really need to consider establishing yourself in the lane of the Great American Songbook, which
Yeah.
would be, on par with it's the same category that you would see, Michael Bublé, Harry Connick Jr.,
Oh.
Diana Krall,
Yes.
of course, our ancestors, like, Nat King Cole, Sammy Davis Jr.,
Right,
Frank
right.
Sinatra, right?
That's your lane.
That's my lane, yeah. And
I was
so,
calling you the modern day Sammy Davis Jr., Frank
yeah,
Sinatra.
yeah,
Mhm.
exactly. And by the way, Tony Bennett, a lot of these guys were trained vocalists. So though I'm trained in bel canto, which is beautiful singing in Italian, a lot of the legit Broadway stars from back in the day were trained vocalists.
Ah.
They were trained in classical bel canto, and I still do sing classical music, but I was able to tap into this rich legacy, this body of work that I feel needs to be represented by people of color, particularly Black men.
Yes. Yes.
Because there's a lot of people that Sinatra was listening to
Mhm.
that were Black male crooners,
Ah.
like Johnny Hartman and Billy Eckstine, who at that time, when Sinatra was with Tommy Dorsey and Billy Eckstine, I'm talking when they're in their early on in their careers, Billy Eckstine was a bigger teen idol than Frank Sinatra. A lot of people don't know that, but he was a Black man, and at that time, they could not have a Black crooner outshine Sonata. So there is a
Oh.
lot of deep history around why certain Black crooners did not get that level, attain that level of success.
Oh.
And Nat King Cole was one that was able to break through. But for me, I am the only Black male at this level making records, which is really
Wow.
crazy.
That is crazy. Amazing. So when is your record release party going to be?
So Wednesday, August 18th, I'll be at Catalina Jazz Club in LA.
I was thinking we're going to have to go to Vegas. I'm like, not in August, baby. August 18th. Okay, August
I'm
18th.
coming to LA, and we're going to be doing a lot of promotion around
Oh,
it.
good. I'll help you.
Yeah,
Yes.
so I'm
Catalina
excited
Jazz.
about it.
And that's a famous jazz club. Like I always hear like
Yeah,
KJ, not KJLH,
K
The
Jazz.
Wave.
Uh-huh.
The Wave always
The
talks
Wave.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Catalina
record's called
Jazz.
Matters of the Heart. And so this record is all about love, loss, and the hope of love again.
Oh my God. Yes.
That's what the album is speaks to. And I have a single called All I Need Is the Girl that's doing really well out there. And we're playing over 300 stations worldwide. And I have a wonderful team, wonderful publicist, wonderful team.
Good.
My producer, Susie Reynolds, she's one of the only jazz producers in jazz.
Oh wow.
Produced the record. So homage to Queen Power producing me. And she used to represent the late great Freddie Cole, who just passed away last year, Nat King Cole's brother. And so I'm truly carrying on this tradition.
Oh my God, let's manifest you being at the Hollywood Bowl Jazz Fest next year since they skipped it this year. My friend did it. Oh my God, do you know Parlor Social?
I do know Parlor Social.
Yeah. They're so amazing. And they gave me tickets when they got to perform at the Hollywood Bowl. Because I helped them to manifest with my prayers and positive. That'll be you. Let's name it and claim it.
Yes.
Well, yeah, I see you. Yeah. There you go. Yeah. I think Trombone Shorty was there 1 year too.
Man.
I love him.
Oh, he's great.
Troy, right? I figured you would know him. Yeah.
Of course, yeah. So I'm doing a big thing with a big orchestra here in town called the Great American Songbook Orchestra. 32-piece orchestra backed by the Union here in LA. So
this week?
No, we're working on a whole big situation.
Ooh. You guys, he's working on a big situation. He's aligning with his talents, and this is what I need you all to do if you haven't already. Go to his website. Do you have a newsletter list, or how can they stay connected and be on the top of everything?
Yeah, on the contact page, they can, or they can just email me at info@elijahrock.com, and I'll add them to my MailChimp. And yeah, we'll keep them on the loop. They can always go to elijahrock.com to find out where I'm going to be playing. And of course, my social media. The more people you have on social media, the more, they can just follow what you're doing. And so.
You have such a great, beautiful website. I'm like, whoa. We didn't even talk about your podcast. Really quickly, let them know about your podcast, and then maybe you'll sing us out.
Yeah. Well,
I know you have a cold, but if you can.
I'll give you a little something.
All right.
So it's the Elijah Rock Variety Show. So another thing what happened with COVID. So, I wrote the book. Then I'm like, what's next?
Oh my God. What's next?
So,
get a date. What's next?
Yeah, what's next? So I got a call, random email. Hey, what are you doing? I got this studio that I'm opening up, and one of the producers in Vegas, Pete Housley, was like, I got the studio. Come by, check it out. See, maybe you want to do like a podcast show or something like that. I think you might like it. So I was like, all right, great. I was in Palm Springs on a vacation.
Ooh.
And in the flow, so I went by when I got back, checked out the studio, was like, okay, I can do something with this. He goes, yeah. I'm like, what do you want? He's like, just do something with it. I'm like, awesome. I started making phone calls to all these amazing people, Marla Gibbs, Antoine Fisher, Don Lewis, blah, 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 And over 48 people said yes. I have 48 interviews in the can. We're launching 4 seasons of 12 episodes. We're at episode number 10 that we launched this week. And the whole team together, Mylene Barretto, my partner, she came on board. She marketing, just amazing, supporter, my co-producer, and the rest is history. And we're just knocking them out. And it's like now we have 2 interns, 2 Quinn and Nini. We have Freedom Bean, who does our graphics. We have Paul.
Oh my gosh, that's great.
All these incredible people who work with us every week to get these interviews out.
And do you transcribe them?
We are going to transcribe them because that's another way for people to actually have the interview. So that's the next step too.
Exactly. That's my next step too. I was like, you know what? I got to transcribe them. Yeah. So my friend Stacy and Danielle says they are going to be my dates for your show. They've already agreed. All right, Stacy, Danielle, let's get a limo. Let's go. And it's not on it's on a Wednesday, thank God, because every Sunday we're going to be at the Bull. Ziggy Marley. We're going to be seeing like every single artist ever. Sergio Mendes. Like,
oh my gosh. Oh, I'm going to have to come in town for some of those for sure.
Exactly. Her. Yeah, it's going to be really, really, really good. Dave Koz. Going to go to Dave Koz.
Yeah, he's awesome.
Basically, every Sunday I'll be at the Hollywood Bowl for the whole month of August. But on Wednesday, we will be, and it's Wednesday, August 18th. Write it down. Yep. Put it in your calendar. I have a saying: schedule in your calendar, see it in your life. Right? We'll make reservations. Like yeah, isn't that great? So, like, if one of the best things because I learned so much from every interview I do, and I think the life-changing thing that you gave me is the joy and the discipline of meditation, to let God be my publicist, to let God be my sales manager, to let God be my CEO, to let God be my matchmaker, to let God lead and guide my life instead of me doing it by just saying, what is next? And then meditating for 10 minutes for 30 days. Let's start, everybody, July 1st. We'll do a challenge, and we'll invite Elijah we'll do a Facebook group challenge. We'll invite Elijah, and we'll all commit, and we'll check in. Yes, our lives will be changed. By the time your show comes in August, we'll be all synergized.
We'll have them all there. We'll like, it's really important. We need to continue to build community around meditation. I would love to. And it also for a lot of people who are going through a lot of mental health, trauma, and I think we already know that it helps in all these other ways that we just talked about, but it also just helps with just relieving the stress that the mind is continuing to. It biologically, anatomically, on so many different levels, it's just helpful to our well-being. And if we just would give it a little bit of time and discipline, we'll see. And then we get to just see the magic that's happening in our friends' lives and be like, oh my God, like it is the cure for the world. And the Eastern world has been trying to get us to understand this for ages.
Right. But the Western world's like, oh, if we just work harder, sacrifice, no pain, no gain. The Eastern world is like, if you just, what does Nat Hanh say? When you, like, if you did, if you spent 1 hour going within, the other 23 hours of your day would be just on flow.
No, right? It's so true. It's so true. And
Miriam Lopez says she's in for the meditation challenge. During quarantine, every Friday I was leading a meditation on Facebook Live because I asked myself, my inner self, how can I be of service? If I'm not working right now, then, and when I did that, guess what? All of the work that I had that was canceled came in the form of webinars. And I'm still doing speaking engagements barefoot from this couch. So I'm not really mad. I'm not mad that I don't have to get on the plane. Thank you.
I'm so happy. I saw when you started doing those. I was like, she is being proactive. Yes. You were being proactive. And so many people were just so like, just stuck in their own misery. And I saw you with your positive energy, and you were just being proactive. And you weren't, here's the thing about it. It didn't appear to me like the energy was like helter skelter. It was, you know what I mean? Because a lot of people were kind of like scrambling.
Yeah.
Right. But then everyone was on social media more because it's like
Right.
everyone wants to see what everyone else was doing. Right. And I could tell the people who were just more like sort of anchored in their next step. They were just like, boom, and now you see us now coming out of this transition. Look where you are now. Look how many episodes you have now. Look at what you've built, the webinars, all these things that you've built because you made what we call divine right action.
Exactly. And it was inspired action because my ego was like going to fear. What are you going to do? And my higher self was like, you need to move to the beach. That's what you need to do. I'm like, my ego's like, and pay more money? Yes, you do, because that's what's going to give you your inner peace. And when you have inner peace, you're better going to be able to serve the world. And that's what you're here to do. Use your unique divine talents and skills to serve the world. That's what you do. And that's what all of you here, Danielle and Stacy and Victor and Brittany and Tamir and everybody, Chad, that turned in, you are here. Like Elijah said, we all have unique, not talents.
Right.
And we just need to unleash them.
That's
and
it.
He is your inspiration. He's my inspiration. So I'm so grateful to share you with my community because I knew they would love you so much. Yes, and we're all going to come see you perform. Would you like to sing us out? Mm-hmm.
I got my tweed breast. Got my best vest. All I need now is my girl. I got my striped tie. I got my hopes way up high. Got the time, got the space, I got rhythm. Now all I need is my girl to go with.
I love it. Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. So we're going to get your book. I think everybody needs your book, which is The Fine Art of Romance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Going to get the Matters of the Heart sophomore album.
Mm-hmm.
Sign up for your email list so that we can get invited to the Catalina launch release party, and just following you on social media. It's just his name, IG at Elijah Rock. Check out his website, check out his YouTube channel, check out his podcast. It's really
check it all out. The podcast, the book is going to be on Audible as well. It is on Audible now. It's on Audible and on paperback on Amazon. And the variety show is on all podcast networks and on YouTube.
And is it in your voice?
Yeah.
Ooh la la, that's great. Yeah. Because that's why I wanted to get. Yeah, when Lenny Kravitz came out with a book, I was like, oh, let me get him to read it. Ooh la la, right?
Yeah.
Good. Yes, you'll get more sales. Everybody says, did you? So Danielle said, did you read it on Audible? Yes, Audible. Yes, yeah. He's reading it on Audible. So before I let him go, or because he's such a busy man, I'm sure you can tell all his talents, all of his ventures. Any questions from those of you listening, both on Facebook and on YouTube? If you want to type in your question, I can ask him. Otherwise, make sure you follow him on social media, including Facebook, and then you can ask him yourself. You can go to his page and ask him. I'll type it right into there. Okay, Danielle says, "Ooh la la." Yes,
ooh la la.
She's like,
ooh
"Great,
la la.
We love Audible." Yeah, my people are very supportive of culture, supportive of the arts, supportive of talent, true talent. Yeah, so we're so grateful for you. We're so grateful for your time. And I want to say thank you all for tuning in. We are here each and every week with the Align for Success podcast. It is my intention that each episode inspires you, that you have a joy, not a job, that you can fulfill your soul's contract. Like Elijah said, that we can monetize your magnificence. I actually bought the domain name, Monetize Your Magnificence.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, just in case a chorus gets downloaded to me, I want to be ready. Stacy says, thank you, Elijah. We'll be at your show, and they will be at your show. When I say they will be at your show. They will
And
be.
this is my first show in LA post COVID.
Oh,
This is the first
awesome.
show back, so we wanna get the house rocking.
Yes. Definitely.
So thank you.
We will get the house rocking, and I look forward to seeing you all again with another great episode next week. Make sure you comment on YouTube and you like and subscribe, share, because I know there are people out there that may be feeling in despair. They may be feeling lost. They may be feeling, and just anything that they get from this podcast that can turn it around, just the meditation, understanding their talents, understanding the power of meditation, the power of God to work through you, and like you said, to surrender. And remember, my friends, that you are a messenger for a very important message, and that with the power of synergy, anything is possible. Ciao for now. Bye. Woo woo. We're ready. We'll have a good time. Yes. Bye, everybody. See ya. Love, love.